Today we're going over the Trade tab in the TastyTrade platform. You spend a lot of time on that tab whenever you're wanting to place an options trade or wanting to look at your overall strategy. So let's go ahead and take a dive into it and see what it looks like. What you see is an options chain under the table tab in the Trade tab. So everything is collapsed right here. What we have are the expiration dates for this stock. We're going to use DraftKings as an example. What we see on the left is the actual date of the expiration date for each option. The days till expiration is in the middle here. So once we open one of these up, we'll do the January 26th expiration date. Now we see the list of all of the options that will expire at January 26th. This gives you basically a standard options chain, and it's interactive. So all of these numbers on the bid-ask spread is a button. So you can use it to sell and buy puts, sell and buy calls based on the information you're given here. What this orange bar here is the expected move. And this is based on the implied volatility. What we see is $1.61 plus or minus. So what we see is the current price in this orange bar, and the expected move is $1.61 below and $1.61 above the current price. So you can use that as a gauge to find out where the price might move within the expiration date. It's a very useful tool. I use it personally just to kind of get an idea of the volatility of the option. You also see a blue dotted line. That is the standard deviations from the average price. So that kind of gives you an idea of an expected move as well, based on historical price data. You also get, I like to keep the bid ask right there on the options chain so I can get an idea of the spread between the bid and the ask, the buyers and the sellers. And then I can also see the current price. How much am I going to get in a premium if I sell a put or sell a call? I like to keep out of the money percent as well. That gives me some more probability on where the price is going to move. I look at the volume just to see how many people are trading that current option, and the delta that tells me how much the options price changes for every dollar that the stock changes. And then the theta is the time decay. So I like to take a look at those and how it might affect my overall portfolio before I place a trade. So you can see there, I can click on a button and it will open up the order menu here at the bottom, and you can make your adjustments as you want. Again, it's interactive, right? So if you ever want to clear it, then you just hit this eraser button and it goes right away. So that's pretty well it for the table tab inside the Trade tab there. The next one we go to is the curve. The curve gives you more of a visual representation of the option chain of the table tab here. You can see the actual curve of the average prices, historical prices, and you can see the standard deviation dots vertically here. And then the expected move is in orange as well. So you kind of get a good representation. You can see my current position. I've got 100 shares at $37.50, and then I have one call option for $37.50 as well. So my strategy right now, what I did was I sold a put at $37.50. I let it get assigned, and then now I'm selling the call and then collecting the premium through the call side with my 100 shares that I got assigned. So, and I'm in the money, and that's a good position for me. So I can kind of visually see that based on the current price. The current price is going to be that pointer indicator right here, and then you can see my 100 shares at $37.50, and then my one contract that I'm selling for the same price, $37.50. The analysis tab is a big help here. You have the option to select the analysis tab on the table tab here, but it doesn't really give you much use on this tab. Where you really get a use out of the analysis tab is on the curve tab. So you can see now I have at the expiration zone, you can see at what point I start making money and losing money. So because I collected a premium, you can see that my break even is actually below $37.50 because I've collected money. I've collected my premium. And then it gives you more information like 57.8%. I believe that's the probability that it's going to go above, and then 42.2%, which I believe is the probability that's going to go below my break even. So it's looking pretty good for me, right? I've got a almost 60% chance that it's going to stay above my break even point. And then you can see my expected loss. You know, if it goes down to 23.50, the value of that, my strategy, basically, I'm going to be losing. I'm going to be in the red, and then it also shows how much I can make, right, in the green. And then I've got, you can see like it says January 19th, that's today's date, and then my price as I move it, and then how much I can expect to make my profit and loss here as I drag it across. That's kind of a general overview of the curve. And again, you have different options you can do here, different buttons you can click, on your analysis. And so if you want to zoom in as well, you can see under this config menu, you can click the plus to go in by $1. It looks like by $1 or 50 cents for DraftKings here. So if I want the spread on the strike price here to be $1, then I have one here. If I want to zoom in more, then I can do 50 cents. And so it kind of zooms in on the chart. So I want to note too that you're not able to actually place a trade on this curve tab, but it does give you a good visual representation of your strategy, your probability of profit, and where your break-even point is, and then your expected profit and expected loss. So it kind of gives you just a good picture of what you're wanting to see. And just in case you might miss something in your strategy, maybe you missed an order you were supposed to place, you'll be able to visually see that here. The next tab is the active tab. Basically, this is an interactive view of your watch list or a watch list that you're interested in. So you can take the TastyTrade default watch lists here and just take a look at those, and it'll show up on this list. Personally, I don't use this tab very much at all, but it could be useful for somebody who's maybe spends more time on their watch list. But you can see here my current positions here in my watch list, my cost basis for each one on the shares that I own, and then you can also see your bid ask, so the current price, and then the change for the day. There's also a ruler here that kind of shows the volume and the current price. So it kind of gives you a visual on the price movement. And then it also gives you the option to buy and sell on this tab, on the active tab here. So if you wanted to sell, you can click this and you could close out your position right from this list. So it gives you kind of a full view of your watch list. And it could be your current positions as well, but whatever you have on your watch list, it gives you an overall view of where you're at on each of your stocks. On the left here, you have your order preferences that you want to put in as you're placing trades. So here, my type, I've got limit, but you could do a stop limit, stop market, or a market order, the quantity that you're interested in, and the time enforced. Do you want a day, good till canceled, and so on. So you can change those options here on the left. The next tab is the grid. Now I want to tell you why I don't use the grid tab on the trade tab, because this chart does not interact with the main platform ticker. So you can see I have DraftKings. We're using DraftKings as an example for this tutorial. I have Palantir in this list right here. So it doesn't follow the overall platform. Whenever I select DraftKings on the main tab, it doesn't reflect this chart. So I wouldn't recommend using this because you could get the charts mixed up. If I have DraftKings selected here and I end up having Palantir here, I could think that I'm looking at the DraftKings chart when I'm not. I recommend that you use the chart tab down here. It's in a hidden place, but you can still use it and it interacts with all of the rest of the platform. So whenever I change DraftKings here, it's going to change to DraftKings. Or Palantir, the chart is going to change. So I don't recommend using the grid tab if you're wanting to look at one stock altogether. I highly recommend using the chart tab down here if you want to look at a chart pattern on the TastyTrade platform, because you can get into some trouble by having the wrong stock up here, and you could potentially make the wrong decision, or a decision that you didn't plan to make based on the chart patterns. You have the option to do crypto on TastyTrade, but you do it through a third party, from what I understand. I don't trade crypto. And then you have the pairs trading as well, which you have a order window pop up here. Again, not something that I'm going to use very much. I don't pair trade, but you do have that window that comes up for pairs trading. So overall, where are you going to spend most of your time on the trade tab? You're going to be buying and selling your options on there, getting a visual understanding of the option chain here. And then also, if you want a visual view of the curve or a visual representation of your strategy, you're going to be using the curve tab. Other than that, these other four, if you're buying and selling options, you're probably not going to spend too much time on these tabs. And I think that the platform puts it on the end for a reason, because you're going to be spending most of your time on the table tab and the curve tab. So you can see the trade tab is essential whenever you're wanting to buy and sell options, especially on the table tab and on the curve tab. If you thought this video was helpful, give it a like. And if you want to see more tutorials from me, subscribe for more. If you want to know more about how to use charts on TastyTrade, click this button.